So here we go. That's done. And then I'm going to give you just a really brief what you can expect for the next hour. So I'm going to tell about in 2-3 minutes a tiny little bit behind the idea and the context of this series of events, because it's a series. Then we're going to do a quick check-in in breakout rooms where you're going to be with 1 or 2 other persons together, where you can kind of share your questions or develop your question if you don't have one yet. Get inspired by your partner, maybe then a new question pops up. And then we're going to do what you are all here for, which is the Ask Me Anything part towards Joep. And then about 7 minutes towards the end, we're going to share a little bit about similar events that are coming up. I'm going to share with you when the next AMA call is going to be. And there will be the possibility for you to maybe also put into the chat what beautiful events you are organizing, so I can put that into the follow-up mail and let everyone know about that. And then it's already time for a checkout. So that's what you can expect for about the next hour. And so a teeny tiny little bit about how this whole AMA call series came about. It came actually through 2 friends. One of them is here. The first friend, Sabine Söder, she actually expressed her regret and found it a pity that our program Shift Your Paradigms with Appreciative Inquiry was not done, because she said, well, this wisdom of this AI star needs to be captured, and that stuck with me. Oh, yeah, stick with me. And another dear friend, Nadia, who's here today, actually hosts another AMA call series with another very wise person, Peter König. Happens to be tomorrow, if you're interested, in the topics of money and source and love and business. And I thought I'll just play the copycat and just do the same thing with this wise man here, who is an expert in appreciative inquiry and appreciative leadership. So just as that, it's about capturing Joep's wisdom. That's also one of the reasons why we're recording this here. And just also as a tiny little kind of making it easy for you to ask really any question that you want to ask Joep. There is no such thing as a dumb question. So please bring everything that's on your heart and on your mind, bring it to the table. It's going to enrich us, enrich the evening. And yeah, let's just make it a fun, interesting thing, I would say, and then open the floor with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the invitation. By the way, welcome, Pradeep. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. So I'm going to put you now into breakout sessions of, let's say, 3 people. That's good. And then I'm gonna there's 1 room with only 2 people, but then you have a little bit extra time. So you have 2 to 3 minutes per person. Just make sure you're gonna fairly share the time that you have there. You're gonna be there for 10 minutes in the breakout room, and you can answer for yourself the question, what brought you here? And what is your burning question to Joep about AI, so appreciative inquiry, leadership, or any other topic where you would like to access Joep's wisdom. With that, if there's not a very burning question on your side, I would just send you into the breakout rooms. And if you have burning questions, you have to wave violently or unmute yourself. All right. Good. Then I wish you fun in the breakout room. Bye. You are muted, my dear. You're muted.
I was already wondering, am I going to talk to myself who I am and then come up with a burning question to myself? And what
No,
burning?
because I didn't make you co-host. Maybe I should make you co-host, huh?
You don't have to. No, why should you? Why what?
Because if you're a co-host, gonna have Fritz Walter here. It's gonna go right into the next, he's coming in. If he's coming in. Yeah, there he is. Hello, Fritz, if you can hear us. Alrighty.
I had trouble with my provider.
Oh, yeah, you're a tiny little bit, but here you are. You're there. That's wonderful. Welcome. You have, do you have a choice? Yeah, you have a choice. People are right now already in breakout rooms, and they are having about 8 minutes time left to reflect upon what their burning question towards Joep is, to then afterwards, when they come back, join in there, and also to get to know the other beautiful people. So you can either go into one breakout room or you just hang out with us for the next 7 minutes.
Oh, choice. Good. I take the first one.
The first one? All right. Then I'm going to put you into the room with Annemarie Vestra, who's a wonderful person. So you'll be just there. I'm going to make you into room 2. Have fun. Good that we had enough break. If there's a new one who's coming in, he or she has to hang out with us.
Oh yeah, so you have a limited number of breakout rooms set up.
Exactly. And they are already there. I cannot just kind of divide people and get them into a new room.
You cannot create just out of the blue a new.
Of course you can, but people are in conversations now already.
Yeah. That's interrupting it in a unpleasant way.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, my dear, like 12 out of 18 registrations showing up.
It's pretty good.
It's
I
pretty
think
good.
what I know from this kind of thing, it's pretty good. And I guess then with a little maybe marketing, I guess we did well, by the way. It was nice to sort of play off what you said. It was good. You took the lead, and I tried to respond and share it. And
yeah, and that was very good. I think that was indeed good, because you need to engage on LinkedIn, otherwise it's going to be considered as boring.
I was wondering whether next time, as there is quite a community on Facebook as well that follows me, but I could do that on Facebook the next time as well.
Then you're the one in the lead of Facebook, because I'm never on Facebook.
No. But that's fine. I mean, it's okay. We can do that. And I didn't see anything. We didn't do anything on Instagram, right? I mean, you used to use that quite a bit, but you're not using that.
Maybe I can do it the next time. Is it my internet that is a little bit cracky? Or is it your internet?
Yeah. And it froze the word first, I guess, first part, it froze there for a few seconds. The whole screen froze. Now, I don't know whether it's me.
That's then you, my dear.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
If the whole screen freezes, then it's you. If only I freeze, then it's me.
Yeah. It looks like there is a pretty strong signal here, but maybe it's not there all the time.
That's right. Well, I'm wondering if the whole time I have the recording going, Maybe I'm going to stop it here, and then please remind me that we're going to switch it on again when people are coming back. Is it good?
It's okay.
Yeah, right. Well, dear people who are watching, we're going to see each other in 4 minutes, or for you in a second. Here we go. That was a good reminder. Thank you very much, you. And the floor is yours. I would suggest that you raise either your hand, like really physical your hand, or you raise your electronic hand. You can do that by, again, going to the lower part of the Zoom window. If you go there, then there's in the middle of the screen, more or less, a smiley icon and reactions there. And then you can put up your hand. And I see already Nadia has done that. And I'll give you the floor, dear Nadia. And I'm going
Thank you, Vera. And hi, you. So I remember encountering AI, I don't know, maybe, and can I also say that I think it's so delightful that AI and AI are branded in the same way, and how much I wish that artificial intelligence had more of the AI gene that we're talking about here. But anyway, so I encountered AI probably 18 years ago, and I really benefited a lot from the approach that Cooper Ryder provided with inquiring into the past with this appreciative lens and learning from it. And I guess what I'm struggling with right now is, as much as I believe in discovering what has worked in the past and drawing strength from it, I'm also feeling we are now entering a future that is so very volatile and so very unknown and so rapidly changing. So I'm wondering, how do we combine taking the positive from the past, the what has worked in the past, and move it into a future that we can't even begin to understand? How do we reconcile those two perspectives from your point of view?
Thank you for your question, and I think that is, to me, that has become one of the big misunderstandings about AI. It is about our best stories that we have, which is, I guess, because we have those. And let me just retrace, because you said so many things that I'm already just all over the place. I guess I appreciate it. I'm actually right now in Breda. Tomorrow I'll be the chair of a committee that assesses a program on artificial intelligence. And they have asked me as an appreciative inquiry person. And just 3 years ago, I wrote an article on, by the way, with Vera's help, on appreciative inquiry plus artificial intelligence will deliver sustainable future leadership. And I've tried
Beautiful. I'd love to have a link to that article.
I will make sure that I will send it to you, or we'll send it afterwards. But yeah, so the point with, I guess, appreciative inquiry to me is that if we take it at the level of the head and of the knowledge part, it looks like our best stories are there to collect information, data, which, by the way, we could do with artificial intelligence, and then say, okay, now if we do more of that, then it will create this better world. I think that, and I did that in my first years as well, and I think we're starting to miss the point there with appreciative inquiry, because I'm starting to believe and discover that our best stories are not just simply there to come up with the facts, what made us successful. So, what was the best party you ever had? And then you say, well, we had wine and beer, and okay, let's have more of that, and then we'll have another great party. But it is trying to understand, and to me, this is what is happening with appreciative inquiry as well. And where, by the way, there is the tension with artificial intelligence, is that what would happen if we look at those stories from the perspective of the heart, and maybe even more, what would happen if we would look at them from the perspective of the soul? And this is where, I guess, your work and Peter's work, then as far as I come into play. So when I ask any of you around any topic to share the best story you have, it is not about what is really the facts in terms of an exact science. We did this or we did that. But what was behind it? So I guess when we take the party, or I'm now in a room it is not about the best room I ever had with a bath and a nice shower and a good bed, but it's what people have done with it. What's behind it? So I can feel the attention. I can feel the creativity when I'm in this room. I never had a room where there was a bed, and then at the end of the bed, there is a little open fireplace. I could show it to you. And then on the other side of that fireplace is the bathtub. I mean, but people apparently created something of a feeling, and this is where I always say, this is where the principles of AI come in and kick in. It's not just about the stories. It's not about the 4D cycle, but it's about the principles. And what's more, what possibilities, what potential do this story actually offer? So to answer your question, maybe as specific as possible, it is not about understanding the data. It is what's beyond the data. So when you're cooking the meal for your wife now, you may have asked her what is the things that you like most. And so, I don't know, it's rice and noodle or whatever. But it's not those ingredients that make the best story. What makes the best story actually is the love and the creativity you put. Well, it may be the creativity first and then the love you put in there. And that's what we try to do, in my belief, with appreciative inquiry these days. So we try, at least I try, when I work with clients, I try to go beyond what are the facts. So and try to get to this deeper level. I mean, you are, as I shared, we met yesterday, for those who didn't know that, but in a call, you are the expert. Expert is not a good word, but it's talking. What does it feel? What do you feel, and where does it touch you? And why is this the best story? Not from the facts perspective, but from what you feel.
But what this brings up to me, if I were to rephrase what I just heard you say, is actually we go beyond the data and connect people who engage in this kind of storytelling with a way of being that is resourceful and connected, right? And from that space, then potentially completely new answers can arise. They were triggered by looking at the past, but they don't actually factually have to do anything with the past. Exactly.
And that's why it's why I often, very often actually say, I mean, I don't think we have a good understanding of the word problem, and it all starts. I mean, problems are things that need to be solved and need to be addressed. But what if you, and some of you know that I say my definition of a problem, it's nothing else than a frustrated dream. If you think about that, and I'm not talking about technical things. So tomorrow when I do this AI, there is a lot of technical stuff, but when it's not non-technical, when it's communication, when it's cooperation, when it's engagement, and people say, we have a problem, what actually they say is something is being frustrated. And I think a dream is being frustrated. Now, if that is the case, and we all have come to live 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, maybe almost 70 years, there must have been stories, good stories, that made us survive. And try to get to that level where you say, well, what was this dream and what drove the dream? And it's not the facts. it's the feeling, it's the intention, it's the fun, it's the joy, and you try with appreciative inquiry to. I think it was Vera and I in the preparation. I think it was Rosbert Kanter who said, "If it's no fun, nobody is going to do any of this."
Yeah, and and again, I think I love that analogy with the frustrated dream. I think that's a beautiful way of looking at problems. And then if we can connect to that resourceful way of being, there will be solutions for our frustrated dreams.
Because then you say, okay, we have found something that brings energy, that helps us see the potential, and how would you do that? I mean, what would truly empower you? And then you have started on this track whereby you say, okay, we have shared good stories, and we became engaged. Became engaged because you shared with me what your favorite music is, or your favorite painting, and et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you so much, Joep. I think that answers my question and gives me a wonderful starting point for the next inquiry.
Okay, that's good. Good. Glad to hear that.
Thank you, Nadia. And does that maybe trigger a question of someone else? Or do you have your own question? Otherwise, if there's no one, I have a few in the backhand. Yeah, Fritz, please.
I have a question which didn't come out of the breakouts, but when now listening to you, I thought my main question is for a while. Many books or articles, they say the old world is dying, the white man, the culture, and so on, and a new one is born. And I wonder if that's true. And because when you look around, I wonder whether this is the last worsening. And after this, the new world will come alive and will show up. That's my burning question for at least last 6 weeks.
It's a big question, Fritz. I mean, we have some 25 minutes. I think we could take like 25 years to address that. But I think whatever state this world is in, it's temporarily. It's a temporary state. I mean, some of you know that I started. I'm still struggling with it to do a PhD on the topic of I'm in search of the soul of the appreciative leader. And one of the things that I found, I do some work for ESA, the European Space Agency, and they got me in touch with the Max Planck Institute. And the Max Planck Institute, maybe already some 4 or 5 years ago, produced a study about the beginning of the universe. And the study actually was, they were very excited that they figured to about, I think, 300,000 years. I'm not exactly on the date, but 300,000 years after the Big Bang. So very close to the beginning of the universe. And it was fascinating. There was nothing then, just energy. Is that what they say anyways? I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know either, but and all these things started to emerge. So in the billions of years that followed, tremendous changes have taken place in our world, not only our world, in the universe. And everything that's happening is changing rapidly, and some of the things are, you could say, man-made, caused by us. Some are completely out of our influence. And what I as a, I don't know whether a believer in AI, is that I think what remains and what stays there is the stories people share. And I also believe that and this is one of my, but it's coming back to Nadia when she said it's like almost a way of being. I think appreciative inquiry is anyways part of a way of being, and one of the elements for me that is in my view part of appreciative inquiry is that no one gets up in the morning to give me a bad day. I mean, that would be too much. You could say I'm not important enough, or you can believe in people and say people don't get up wishing somebody else a bad day or causing them trouble. What we are great at is sharing stories. Sometimes they're of the complaining type. We complain about situations and things that were unfair, but we are great at sharing stories. And I think what David discovered in the late 80s of the last century, when he did his first study at Cleveland, was we have a choice there. We have a choice in terms of how we look at ourselves and at our worlds and at the people that we know and that we care about. And when you realize that you have this choice, then the question comes, and why not choose for the best stories we have? And this is what I guess David found in his original studies, that when you that he discovered, I mean, in the first instance, not even intentionally, but he just found it, that when people share good stories, when I ask you, first, when I would ask you to ask you, tell me about the best piece of music that you know, and you start to share about that, there is a big chance that I feel the energy, why you love that piece of music, why it makes you enthusiastic, and some of that energy will be spread even in this virtual room that we have. When I were to ask you now, tell me the story about the piece of music that really brought you down, and that was the worst piece of music that you ever heard, that there will still be energy. I mean, like in the other situation, but it will be most likely energy that will bring us down and not get as enthusiastic. And in the first instance, we all might leave the call, saying, what Fritz shared about that piece of music, that was really fantastic. The first thing I'm going to do after this call is listen to that piece of music. If it was like a terrible piece, people say, well, this whole call is nothing. I don't know this what Vera and you organized. I will certainly not enroll for the next call. So it's really, and we are in times that, well, none of us, of course, know what's going to happen tomorrow. What I do know is that when I appreciate people, and when I appreciate them from a deep level, so sincerely appreciate them, and I do not always have to like them, I do not always have to agree to them, but if I truly appreciate them for what they bring to the table, my day, actually, it's very selfish, my day will be a better day, even tomorrow, despite what happens in this world. So as long as we see the possibilities and the potential, which is one of my sort of trademarks, that I always hope that we can see that together. I hope, I don't know, does this partially, at least partially, I hope, address your question?
Well, yes, I agree to this, what you said. When I listened to you, I found the reason why I have this question, because I'm listening too much to my wife. She works in a toxic ministry in Germany, and every morning I drink cappuccino, then she tells me about what happened that day. And I've done so many AI interviews the last month, and if you have the interviews, then you don't have this question anymore.
No, whereby and this is linking also to what I shared with Nadia, I think that we have to and we actually have Victor on the call, who was one of the people who was there when we did actually together the AI interventions at a company called Syntegra. That you really have to watch that you go beyond the story. I mean, this is what I shared with Nadia as well. So the stories are beautiful, but if you just stick at the level of the story and you don't know, or you don't get to the real meaning making, so you go to try and understand what's happening at a deeper level within you, where you feel what's happening, then you may miss the point of appreciative inquiry, and actually it may be quite disappointing. And I always loved, although I don't apply that myself very often, but I always loved the approach of some of the Swedish practitioners who say, you have to ask the question 3 times. You have to ask the same question about the story 3 times. So what Vera did when she asked us, then do that again and do that again, and you'll find that you get deeper within yourself. So it's not about remembering the exact story, which is beautiful and which I guess works very well in the beginning, but after that initial phase, it's really essential that we get to the real meaning of the story, I think.
Yeah. You.
So it's so coming back, and then I will move to Clarissa, I think, or Vera. I'll let Vera take over again. But it's like with the music. When you would share with me what is the most beautiful piece of music that you know, that you really love, and you would tell me about that, and then when I would ask that's the very same question again, you will discover different layers of that piece of music, why it is, and even a third time. And I guess that's why what we find in some of the stories in the holy books, where the holy people ask the same question 3 times, not for nothing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks for that beautiful question and the beautiful answer. And I'm gonna move Clarissa right into the spotlight. The floor is yours, and please unmute yourself.
Hi, Clarissa.
Hello.
Nice seeing you. Nice
Nice
seeing
to
you.
see you. I actually don't know much at all about appreciative inquiry, but everything I hear makes sense. And what sort of, and maybe I picked up some of this in other channels, but what I'm wondering, I was hearing all about the good story, like and I totally, I'm with you in like that spreads joy and positivity and action. And yet what I'm so surprised about, at least in Switzerland, it feels like we love to tell the horrible stories that are happening to us, And I don't know what you have to say. I'm just wondering what you have to say and about that.
Yeah. Well, it is a wonderful question, and I think very appropriate also for this first Ask Me Anything. I shared a little bit about the frustrated dream earlier with Nadia, and
Yes.
one of the things that I say with appreciative inquiry is that which I think is a common misunderstanding, is that it's about the positive stories to start with, which in my belief it's not. When I do a workshop on appreciative inquiry, or when I work with people, I say, you really have to understand what is the biggest problem you have. What is the dream that's most frustrated? What's the biggest trauma you have? So I work, and just to give you a few examples, I work with the World Food Program, and it's about hunger and poverty. And when you talk to people in the field in Somalia or in Syria, or to say, well, tell me the best story you have, is like, slapping them in the face. We have done work with women in South Africa who were raped, were abused. I mean, this is, and we use appreciative inquiry in those circumstances. I had a situation in Amsterdam Southeast where it was about the domestic violence leading actually to death, but if you take now, so that is one of the serious starting points of appreciative inquiry. It's understanding what is the problem, actually what is the frustrated dream which is behind the problem or might help you. So let's take a simple example. I hope at least that works. So let's assume, Clarissa, that you and I have a communication problem. Right? So we don't understand each other. We're writing not so nice mails. We're not talking in an appreciative way. So there is really a communication issue. Now, when I were to start talking to you, is that what you want? You most likely would say, no, it's not what I want. I don't want to have a problem with you, and I don't want you to have a problem with me. What I actually want us to do is to communicate well. Is that right? I mean, if I'm wrong in this assumption, you should tell me. But I think that's what we would like. So the dream, when we would say, well, we have a serious communication problem, the dream that's being frustrated is that we're not communicating well. Now, I'm approaching 70. You're still young, but we both have experience, and we must have done. This is one of the premises of AI. We must have done fairly well, otherwise we would not be where we are. Right? You must have communicated quite well with lots of people, because otherwise you wouldn't be where you are. And the same goes for me. I would not be asked to be the chair of a committee. I would not be, I mean, today I shared with Vera, I got another request from WFP to do some work with them. They wouldn't do that if I couldn't communicate. So now what would happen? Just imagine, what would happen if you were to be quiet for a while and try to get to the place where you would feel really, say, you know, if I think about that in terms of communication, that makes me feel really good. Actually, it makes me feel proud. So that is what you do with appreciative inquiry. The story only emerges after you have identified the problem and you have decided on what is the theme, what is the dream that you really want to work on. And I remember vividly that when we talked about, I mentioned the rape and violence against women in South Africa, that it was resilience that they felt made them strong. So what is the best story you have about a time that you communicated really well, that you felt understood, that you felt people shared with you, that people appreciated you? And then share that story with me, and I will share a similar story. I would have to think about that, but I would share a similar story with you. And then let's see what comes out of those stories. And part of that might be factual things like listening, an important thing, speak clearly, ask questions. I mean, so there are some things there, but something else happens as well. I guess if you share that story with me, what you find is that people become what I call often lovingly curious. They really like to hear and understand the other. So this is this deeper level that I talked about. It's not only the facts, listen well, ask good questions, but it's going deeper. And then based on that, could we together envision how we might communicate in the future. What possibilities do we have? What is and what would be the potential? I mean, let's organize the next conference, creating love and business, or whatever. It's these kind of things. And that is what happened. So your question was very valid. To me, it is very valid in the sense of appreciative inquiry is not just about the good stories. It's only important to share the good stories when you understand what is the issue, what is the problem, and even more, what is the frustrated dream behind it, behind that problem? What is it that you really want? And then you start sharing stories because you say, hey, I must have done well, otherwise I would not be here. And then those elements, but also the feeling and the intention might help to move forward and create this new place. This is where my, I guess I'm sounding like a broken record, but this is where my possibilities and potential come up. And I sincerely believe in that. I see that. I mean, after, as Vera said, it made me blush a little bit, but she said he is amongst the 51st. And I know that that story came from a story that Jane Watkins, the mother of AI and David, had. She had the story. David and Jane had a conversation in the mid 90s, and they could not identify not even 40 to 50 people who they said they understand appreciative inquiry. I was one of the lucky ones. They identified as somebody who might understand it. But so I believe in that potential over the past, what is it now, 28 years, something like that. I see it work.
Yes, that was, you experienced it working.
Yeah, I experienced it working. Yeah.
And I would actually like to add maybe one thing that might be of relevance to the question that you've been just posing, Clarissa, in the sense of there's one principle which is called the positive principle of appreciative inquiry. And it's something like, in order to create momentum for change, so for people to move from the frustrated dream to really that dream that is behind it and live it again, you have to create positive effect and strong social bonding. And for both of that, you need courage, because you make yourself vulnerable for that. And I think we very often default into what feels safe. And that is complaining about something where I think you would complain probably as well. That's it's a safer space than sharing something that I feel joy about, where people really.
Isn't that strange though? Isn't that just a strange phenomenon?
It is.
That we love sharing miserable stories.
Yeah. And
It's
there's a way out of it.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's very interesting. I think that when you I guess it is a way like getting it to me. I think, and here I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, so Vera and others can maybe say more about that. But isn't it sometimes that when you kind of feel sorry, you complain, people want to comfort you, and
making vulnerable.
Yeah, so that then kind of works. I do know that when you really want a vibrant energy around, it is about sharing best stories or stories that make people enthusiastic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank
But
you.
it is really a point. I mean, I have done sessions where I knew that the culture was very, in a way, very negative, and people asked me whether I could work with them, and I bring in extra facilitators who just walk around when people tell stories, and when they notice that people tend to get to the, into the downward mood or spiral, to say, well, this is okay, that's okay, but could you get back to telling what really worked for you, or what made you happy? And so sometimes you really need to sort of get people out of this downward spiral.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Clarissa. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm going to move us out here. And before I give the word once more to Nadia, because we're moving towards already the 1900-hour benchmark, at least here in Central Europe, I would like to invite you wholeheartedly to our next AMA call, because this is a series of events. Yippee! It's not going to be the last time that you can ask anything you want to you. The next AMA call is going to be at the 4th of July. I'm going to put that into the chat here. We're going to share it in the follow-up mail as well, but you can use also the link here to register if you want to. And then I would like to announce already another AMA call, which is happening tomorrow at the very same time, and I'm certainly going to be there, which is the one from Nadia and Peter Koenig on money, source, and love in business. I guess it's okay to invite you to that one as well. And if you want to, please also use the chat, put the link to whatever you are organizing as well in here, because I'm going to save the chat then, and I'm happy to put your event into the follow-up mail as well. That being said, I would say, Nadia, I'm wondering whether I'm going to, yeah, you just go for it, and then we're going to quickly say goodbye. I'm going to interrupt you at around 1900. We're going to quickly say goodbye to everyone else, and whoever can stay for longer than 1900, you're of course very welcome to stay there as well.
I'll be really quick. I just wanted to add something to, I thought the interesting question that Clarissa raised around why do we share these negative stories, and why is that a narrative that we are so comfortable with? And just to add that from a psychological perspective, right, there is something about bad stories that creates really intense emotions in us. And so there's an internal reward system in the brain that gets triggered when we have intense emotions, even if they're not positive emotions. And I think AI gives us a tool to create a counterbalance. And for that, we maybe have to step into these spaces more consciously and start creating opportunities for people to have these conversations about other stories that are not only rooted in negative experiences, and then experience that those can actually also equally create very, very deep emotions that also make us connected to other people, but they leave us feeling in a very different way. And I think that's the power of AI as I would see it. And another factor that I see, at least in Germany, and I think there may be other European countries at least who can relate to that. In Germany, it's not proper to talk about things that you're proud of. It's not proper to talk about things that make you look good. It's not proper to talk about your successes, right? So there's a cultural narrative around not trying to be special. And I think we need to create these spaces where we can celebrate people for having succeeded, where we can celebrate people for having been resourceful and yeah, just resilient beings. So that's the only thing that I wanted to add to that.
I mean, I cannot resist to very quickly react to that. I mean, this is where I think, I mean, what you talk about cultures, as Ken Gergen says and David says, they're social constructs. You are a master, Peter has said, in this idea about the normal and the natural regime. Isn't a challenge for us? I mean, and to me, appreciative inquiry is a tool in that to bring us into the natural regime, back towards that it's okay. I mean, when a young child produces something, it's very proud to show that to its parents normally. I mean, that's when, and isn't the greatest, one of the greatest emotions that when you love someone and you can express that. I mean, how much better can it get? But that it requires, and this is where I think what you just mentioned at the beginning, this is where the work of Barbara Fredrickson, for example, is, in my view, so important. This has partially to do with the acceptance and the willingness and to be prepared to rewire our brains and our thinking, and to create this world that is a little, well, at least in the one-on-one context, is a little more hopeful.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joep, and thank you, Vera,
Thank you,
for this.
Thank you very much as well for the two of you. And I think that was a beautiful, appropriate way to close this first AMA session with wisdom. I've been very much enjoying it. And a big thank you to you who have been there and who have been asking beautiful questions. And for the end, I would just say, also having learned from Nadia and her perfect hosting skills, unmute yourself and just kind of give a good and nice goodbye to everyone.
Bye, you guys. It was wonderful to be here.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Some more people staying. Clarissa.
Yeah, some people say, and let me, I mean, one of the things we didn't do, which I feel, I mean, that's even possible with a call like this, is to do even the shortest round of introduction, which is, I think, appreciative inquiry is about relationships and relationship building, and so I guess I'm so happy to see those who are still here, but that also went for the others. I would have, maybe I'll have to think about next time how we can do that a little better, to have this brief round of introduction, because there are such long stories also. I mean, Victor, we've known each other for, what is it? You're on mute. You're on mute. You're still. I can still hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, it's been so many years. I think about 30.
Yeah, it was something like that. So,
I once
yeah.
knew a man who decorated his office with model trains.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. That's him. That's him. That's right. And put all,
That's you. It made me understand you a little bit better. And to be very quick, the word appreciative, write it down by hand, and what do you feel? That's my little challenge. The hunger site will give you 1 cup of rice for 1 click on your computer. You just did the challenge, did you?
Yeah, I wrote down appreciative.
And what do you feel?
But what I feel when I write it down, Victor, is and that's, I guess, the general feeling. There is a deep sense of gratitude towards those who are still present, a deep sense towards the questions that were raised, and a very deep sense of gratitude towards Vera, who said, "Let's do this." Like she invited me for the dance, and that's fantastic.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And you, Vera, thank you very much for this session. I might not be there for the next one, but I really enjoyed the sharing with Clarissa and with Petra, actually. And Petra just said that you know each other already since the beginning of the century.
Yeah.
2001. And yeah, we had a lovely introduction, and I really enjoyed it.
That's good.
Very good.
Good that you were here. Thank you for being here, Richard.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Indeed, very much appreciate it.
My pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah. Hey, Clarissa. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clarissa, for being here. Really
Yeah.
lovely. Thank you for your question.
For the wisdom. It gives me some inspiration to work on a challenging situation.
Okay. Look what's behind it, and then when you have the theme, when you think you have the theme, see what happens if you invite people, because it's really delicate in a way. You know,
It's delicate, especially if my dream is not the same dream as the other person's dream. So I think just even noticing that is already quite helpful.
yeah.
But
that,
yeah.
that's okay. I mean, some people. I mean, I love to dance the tango, and some people love to dance the waltz and the salsa or whatever. And then if you share a great story, you still may have a wonderful dance, and you actually may
Yes.
learn and experience the other dances as well.
Absolutely. Good.
Lovely introduction for me, because I'm just leaving to the dancing lesson with my daughter.
Oh, enjoy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Hi.
You too. Bye.
Bye, Rita.
Vic, is there something else that you want to share or inquire? Shall I leave the two of you just catching up a little bit? Is that an idea?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, what will stick from this session is the words lovingly curious.
Mhm.
Beautiful. And clicking happily away on my computer, the hunger site will donate 1 cup of rice for every click. I think that's important. I've been doing that daily.
Wowie. Wow.
That's beautiful indeed.
That is beautiful indeed. I did. Now I get what you said. Okay. Wow.
Okay, and for the rest, professionally, I will be doing nothing with appreciative inquiry, but it's stuck my entire life because I know it gets results. There's one magician here in Holland, Arjan Wemde, who is doing a lot of work for AI, and I commend him for it. And I'm still interested in stories. I love to hear stories.
Yeah, that's right. So please come and join us if you want to hear more stories.
Join us next time, Victor.
Join us the next time.
I hope to be invited again. Yes.
Of course.
You are invited hereby. You are invited. So
Thank you. And my favorite music is still Erik Satie. He left out notes, and actually he was the Pirlala of Paris. He was a joker.
All right.
His gymnopades are exemplary. I follow Juja Wang. She is a pianist with incredible capabilities. And, Chopin is still my deity, my afgod.
All right.
Nice, Victor.
I'll leave it to it.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
All
Well,
right.
then I wish you.
Well, looking forward then seeing you the next time.
That's right. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.